Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about top 5
best Asus laptops.
Starting at number 5.
Asus ROG Strix Scar 18. When it's time to game, and I mean really game, like obliterate everything in the level with wild abandon, look no further than the Asus ROG Strix Scar 18. This behemoth, with a 18-inch, 2560 by 1600 display with 240Hz refresh rate is the way to go for buttery smooth rendering, which in those crucial moments can mean the difference between getting the kill shot or receiving it. But the destruction you're going to unleash comes by way of the 13th Gen Intel Core i9-13900HX and the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 GPU with 16GB of VRAM. Both chips are the latest and greatest and very overclockable, so you can squeeze every inch of power out of them. And while we're here, I can't overlook the pair of 1TB SSDs in RAID 0 configuration. This treacherous triad destroyed just about every benchmark we threw at it on both the overall and gaming performance. Where the Strix Scar 18 hit a bit of a hiccup is the file transfer test and battery life. But about 4.5 hours is still pretty good for a laptop packing this much power. Outside of this, my only complaint about this system is the 720p webcam, which if I'm paying nearly $4,000, I expect 1080p hell 4K. But overall this is the gaming laptop to beat.
Coming at number 4.
Dell XPS 15 9350. I'd be remiss if I didn't add the Dell XPS 15 9530 to the list. After all, it kept its boot on the best 14-inch, the Lenovo Slim Pro 9i. And while I could put it firmly in the creative professional realm, the laptop can also serve as a powerful productivity machine and a passable gaming rig. It's got a captivating 3.5K OLED touchscreen and a great speaker setup that makes a strong case for the XPS 15 being a serious multimedia machine. Supreme domination, almost, anyway. Armed with its 2.4 GHz Intel Core i7-13700H processor with 32 GB of RAM, the XPS 15 9350 can be a bit of a bully towards its competitors. Take for example, the notebook scored 12,171, defeating the 7,803 premium laptop average. The Dell, however, had some tough competition starting with the Galaxy Book 3, 12,405, which has its own Core i7-13700H CPU. The only thing standing its way was the M2 Max MacBook Pro 16, which hit 14,626. The XPS 15 transcoded a 4K video to 1080p in 5 minutes and 1 second, smoking the 818 category average. That's faster than the VivoBook Pro 16 and Galaxy Book 3's times of 550 and 526, respectively. On the laptop mag battery test, the XPS 15 lasted 8 hours and 58 minutes. The result is a time that's shorter than the 1025 premium laptop average and the MacBook Pro's ridiculous 1856. But this jack-of-all-trades machine does have a few flaws in a mushy keyboard and a below-average, but still longer than 8 hours, battery life that could give some consumers pause. But ultimately, the Dell XPS 15 has something for everyone.
At number 3.
Asus Zenbook S13 OLED. Phew, this thing is thin. How thin? At 2.2 pounds and 0.43 inches, the Asus Zenbook S13 OLED 2023 is a scotch thinner than the M2 MacBook Air, 2.7 pounds, 0.44 inches. But don't write the Zenbook S13 OLED off as a toy, as it's got an Intel Core i7-1355U processor, 32 GB of RAM, 1 TB of RAM and an Intel Iris Xe GPU. Plus, it's got an absolutely beautiful 13.3-inch OLED display. And surprisingly, this diminutive PC has a rather strong speaker system. In terms of performance, the S13 can get the job done within reason. Our reviewer noted, there's enough here for most of your productivity needs, and even some creative pro tasks like editing large raw images in Photoshop. But a MacBook Air killer, it's not. When we tested the overall CPU performance, The Zenbook S13 reached $7,482, which is short of the MacBook Air M2, $8,919, and the Lenovo ThinkPad Z13 Gen 1, $8,768. Chalk that up to the U-series processor, which is geared for efficiency rather than performance.
Number 2 of my list.
Asus Zenbook 14 OLED. This laptop almost makes me feel like I'm stealing from Asus. The Asus Zenbook 14 OLED Q409ZA comes in under $800, but doesn't skimp out on the feature. For instance, the laptop has Asus proprietary number pad 2.0, which transforms the touchpad into a number pad at the touch of a button. Then you have the stunning 2.8K resolution display with a 90 Hz refresh rate that's great for watching movies or videos. Plus, it comes with plenty of ports. With its Intel Core i5-1240p CPU, Intel Iris Xe graphics, 8GB of DDR5 RAM, a 256GB SSD, you can expect middling performance. It isn't bad, it's just not up to a par with a Core i7 CPU. And while the laptop didn't stand out on our benchmark tests, it had no problem tackling real-world multitasking, as our reviewer had a hard time slowing it down. And the Zenbook 14 has solid power efficiency, lasting 10 hours and 52 minutes on our battery test. Outside of the middling performance, the only other gripe we had with the Asus Zenbook 14 Q409ZA is the mushy keyboard.
And number 1.
MacBook Air M2. Weighing a mere 2.7 pounds, Apple's smallest laptop is also the best laptop for most people. There's a lot to love about the MacBook Air M2, starting with its new look. This is one of the thinnest laptops around at only 0.4 inches thick, and yet it packs a big punch thanks to Apple's M2 chip. This system handled most of our benchmarks with a breezy aplomb, outperforming most Windows laptops. Other reasons to buy the MacBook Air M2 include a bright and colorful 13.6-inch display, a comfortable keyboard, and over 14 hours of battery life based on our testing. Although the M2 chip won't pull the numbers that its more powerful brethren, M2 Pro and M2 Max, the silicon is still more powerful than its predecessor. Even better, it's more powerful than the competition. For instance, the Air M2 crushed the Geekbench 5.4 test as well as the Handbrake video transcoding and Blackmagic read/write tests. That's a lot of power for a relatively affordable price, at least for a MacBook. If that's not enough, you also get a 1080p webcam. So what's not to like? There's only 2 Thunderbolt/USB-C ports, and the SSD is slower than we'd like. Overall, if you're looking for an ultra-lightweight laptop with power, the MacBook Air M2 deserves to sit at the top of your list.
Check out this video description for latest price and more informations. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned.